These are our dates.
That's all we can get.
That's right.
Last minute.
We've been fighting over the monkey, but
Yeah.
actually, no, she wants the pig.
I do.
So, okay, so we're moving on to a 4-card spread for you guys. And the first card in the position
The overall tone of the month of January is the Hierophant. So, the Hierophant
the Hierophant.
is your first card of the overall energy of the month of January for you, Capricorn.
Let's talk a little bit about the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents the church. The Hierophant represents blessing, because here we see, if you look at the card, you'll see that we have this sort of Pope-like figure with the Piscean Pope hat.
Yes.
Which is always kind of interesting because, believe it or not, the Pope wears the fish hat, which is the sign of Pisces.
So that's the astrological influence on Christianity that they never admit.
That's right.
They just wear it.
Right, so if you ever see that little fish
Yes.
on the back of a car, which
Yes.
is supposedly representing Jesus, it is actually from the age of Pisces.
Yes.
Yeah, which Jesus was born into the age of Pisces.
He was.
Yeah.
Yes. And,
So this is the age of the Hierophant,
Yes.
the age of Pisces.
And what it can, on a mundane level, represent is marriage.
It can, and we discussed that just a few moments ago.
Marrying in January. And there are a lot of people who do marry in January.
Right.
And,
Yeah. So it's a card that represents institution.
oh, but you know, we have a lot of followers in Australia where it's warm. This is their summer.
Well, that's true.
And they would be married in January, in the warm months of
That's right.
December, January, and February, and March.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes sense for our southern hemisphere.
It does, but it's kind of
Capricorns.
it's like a new year. And so if we were going to speak of the new year sort of in a more global way, which is interesting because we are asking you guys for your global predictions this year.
Send us your predictions.
Yes.
Something you feel might happen in 2015 that is of some note, of some merit, of some interest, something that
Right.
maybe you've had visions. We'd like to hear about it. So,
So
what
this,
would you like
for
to say,
the
Trudy?
environment overall for Capricorn, for the year of 2015, it could be more of it's like this represents the orthodox side of I guess society, the more orthodox side, because if this was upside down, which is how we like it,
Yes.
it represents the bohemian. And so, if you sort of around you have found yourself in the past in sort of a bohemian sort of, environment, it may become a little less so. It may become a little more traditional. And that is really what this card is about.
It's about tradition. And it also is about institutions, consequently. And of course, the church being one of the biggest institutions in the world. And but it can be learning institutions as well.
Well, the reason I brought the whole bohemian thing up is that we're in Casadega. And Casadega is pretty bohemian.
Yes.
So,
very.
yes, it's sort of the flip side of this card. This is what is acceptable.
Right.
And what is not only acceptable, but has been adopted by, society or, a country.
Yes, it's the doctrine.
The doctrine, which has been adapted. So that is kind of colors the entire month.
So some doctrine that you have to adjust to. Perhaps you're the purveyor of that doctrine.
Right.
Could be because Capricorns they can be very conservative.
But they can be pretty bohemian too,
But they
because
can
it's an
also.
earth card. Or it's an earth sign, I'm sorry. You guys are an earth sign, and so Capricorns sometimes really enjoy large plots of land.
Oh, yes.
They like to live, and have some acreage around them. And when you have a lot of acreage, you can sort of live in your own sort of little
Empire.
Yeah, you can make up your own sort of rules,
Right.
which can mean you could live a more bohemian lifestyle. But this is like the cutting of the hair.
Oh, yes.
And adapting to suit and tie.
It's also very spiritual too.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, Capricorns tend to be underrated as a spiritual sign, and that nuns and priests and those people who are connected with more traditional religious institutions are not without deep spiritual impulses, of course. And so it just is channeled in a very orthodox I suppose doctrine or behavior, or the ideas are institutionalized, and Capricorns tend to feel more comfortable.
Well, it's kind of
in
like
that
safe.
kind of spiritual.
Yeah, it's like taking the road most traveled.
Right.
Which isn't always a bad thing.
It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And if you want to take a road that's
the crowded
paved
highway.
and
There are a lot of rest stops
well
along
tread.
the way.
That's fine. So let's see what their challenge is.
Oh, okay. In the position of challenge. Wow, that's your card.
All right.
You
are the Queen of Pentacles.
Yes, and that's in the position of challenge. I call it the Birkenstock Queen.
The pragmatic queen.
Yeah, she's the one who wears the sensible shoes.
Yes.
And for some reason this month it's actually a challenge for you. And you're opening the month with that, which for some reason, maybe it's this, maybe it's the wedding, maybe it's the, there's some sort of tradition that's surrounding you, which is creating this inability to sort of practice what you preach, I guess, because Capricorn always preaches practicality. So I think it's interesting. I kind of like to see what else we have.
Right. Let's
coming
see,
up
because
here.
that's odd. Let's just see. Yes. They had that. That's that.
Right. Okay. So up comes the Ace of Swords in the position of the unexpected. And as Ava was saying, you had that card in the overall environment, sort of ending the year.
The beginning.
No. The end of the year last year.
Oh, I see.
You had the card in the overall environment. So it's showing up in the position of the unexpected, and
so it means that it's still infusing its energy into the month of January for you as well. So some sort of feeling that you have to go out there and fight for a cause, fight for the right. It's self-righteousness again. Fight for your idea.
What is that song? We have to fight for the right to party. Have you ever heard that song? That's a great song.
I haven't, Trudy. I have not heard that song.
Well, they might have to fight for the right to party. Because I was just thinking, it's almost New Year.
We're silly, aren't we?
All right.
Yes.
So, you have to fight for the right unexpectedly to...
Yeah, you have to fight for an idea, for your idea.
Your cause.
And unexpectedly. But your challenge is to remain with your feet on the ground. To not get too...
caught up in the cause.
Caught up in the cause.
It makes a lot of sense when you look at this card.
Yeah, to not get too intellectual about it.
Because this is the institution.
Yes.
The overall environment. So maybe the cause has something to do with, tradition. You're
Right.
trying to uphold tradition, or...
Well, if it's a school, it makes sense to me. because if they're going back to school or something to do with, the scholastic demands of an institution of learning, that you have to, in a sense, come up with your fresh new ideas, and yet you have to remain grounded, practical, and so that you can weave that into the institution, because institutions of learning don't always favor ideas that are too outside of what's acceptable ideologically, philosophically, from what is considered proper.
But there's some sort of yearning for this tradition, because last month, at the end of the month, we had this Four of Wands.
Oh, yes.
Which is really like this homecoming thing. So it feels very much like Capricorn is sort of like looking for this safe harbor. And the harbor is surrounded this month by tradition, which is very comforting.
Right.
But we still have this cause going on.
Right.
Which last month, the cause sort of, it felt as if the cause was driving you, spurring you toward tradition. And whatever that tradition
Let's see how
may
it
be.
is. I've got to see how it is.
Family tradition. It ends with the 10 of Wands. And this is a card that actually sometimes Ava and I don't agree on. There are a couple that we don't, it's not that we don't agree, but we just see this card in
very different ways. Tell them how you see the card.
Well, to me, the 10 has to do with, and you see this fella, he's sort of bent over. That sort of body language tells me that you're feeling a little overwrought, perhaps. You've taken on a lot of responsibility, and although you're, upholding your end of the bargain, you may actually feel a little angry. You may be a bit of a martyr. You may be complaining. But you're getting it done at the same time. So, and I always tell Ava when this card comes up in a Gemini reading that I'm going to do a lot of complaining this month.
Yeah. Well, certainly I do see it as being overwrought because of the body gesture of sort of being bent over, and the fact that he really can't see his way because he has all his wands in front of him. But as I also see it is that you're trying to bring in to the market all that you've reaped, all that you've collected, your ideas, your inspirations, that which fired you, You're trying to bring it into a place where you can market it, but you don't know where that is because the thing itself obscures your ability to see how you can market it. You see? So you want very much you've finished, in a sense, something, and you want to bring it out to the public, but you can't figure out how to get it out there because you're blinded by the thing itself. It's burdened you, it's taken your energy out, it's taken so much to get it to the point of finish that you really can't see how to get it out into the financial marketplace. That's an interpretation of it.
Well, it still looks like it's a part of last month. This reading really is, to me, a reinterpretation of what happened last month. Although there's a lot of movement going on, and this is a major arcana card, so this is really, something that you're moving toward. This is sort of like a part of your life where you that's what major arcana is, where we move in and out of each of these sort of archetypes. And the archetype that surrounds you this month, Capricorn, is the archetype of tradition, an accepted value system. So you are moving through that archetype with this sense of there's like a two-sided sort of thing, because I see it as, wow, it feels really comforting and solid.
Yeah, it's comforting. comfortable for a Capricorn, isn't it?
Right, and really the footing is very solid. However, there are other things going on too, because it has you a little bit challenged in, really, for some reason, keeping your feet on the ground in terms of not taking on too many projects or more than you really can take on.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because you're inspired.
You're inspired. You're truly inspired.
Because it's like this cause, you, and this is the most interesting card, I think, in the reading, because it's come up 2 times.
Right.
And it's the Ace of Swords, and this is another one that sometimes we don't see exactly the same way, because, to me, it's like this, sort of, you want to get your idea out there, and it's just this one sort of really, it's almost like when somebody says something, or they have this idea over and over and you can't get them off the dime kind of thing. So it's sort of like you need to balance that sort of from a practical position, and be a little bit more practical about how you sort of present that, I guess, is how I see that. Because this month, it seems to me as if, you're so inspired by this cause that, it causes you to sort of not let other people sort of, take a part in what you're doing. That's what I see here. Because you're taking all of these wands
onto yourself.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Oh, that's true. The only thing is, the positive thing is that it's got a crown and the dangling wreath from the crown. So there's a certain amount of victoriousness in the idea, the notion, the truth you see, and so that's what inspires you. But yes, at the end, you're a little bit blinded by.
But that's minor stuff.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
the most important card is the first one.
Right, which you're able to somehow really immerse yourself into whatever this traditional sort of because we had the 4 of Wands at the end, so there's almost like this traditional space.
Yes.
That you are taking your cause into.
Yes.
And you're so excited that you do every single job. If there's the list of jobs, you're like, I'll do them all.
Right.
And everybody else is sitting there going, hey, I'd like to bring some cupcakes, I'll bring everything. Just don't worry about it.
I'll do it all. Don't worry.
And then at the end, right
oh my God,
right beforehand,
you're
up baking cupcakes at 2 o'clock in the morning for your church meeting or whatever the traditional, fun, sort of situation that you
maybe some of our
built.
Capricorn fans are becoming nuns of some sort.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
It could be.
The world needs more nuns.
It does.
Right. And if you're getting married, actually, it just means that you're very forceful in terms of what you want.
Yeah, your idea of what the wedding will be.
You're a bridezilla.
But at the end, you are completely exhausted.
Yeah.
You get it done, but you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So you're a beleaguered bride.
That is the Capricorn.
That is it.
Reading for the month of January.
Yes.
And it is a whole new year. And so Ava, mostly Ava, has come up with this idea, which I think is super cool. We want to know what your predictions are, global predictions.
Yeah.
For 2015.
So send them in either via video or just email us or audio file it, and we'll post those that we find very interesting,
And check our Facebook page, because we're going to post, if you get hung up, we'll go ahead and post some ideas in terms of what you can, sort of base your global predictions on.
It'd be interesting to see, because there are a lot of psychic people out there.
Yep.
And maybe through your dreams or through what
A 4-card spread.
a 4-card spread.
Do a 4-card spread.
You might be able to come up with something. So that's it.
So anyway, and also we offer the council card. Click below and
below.
it'll pop right up. Also, our global predictions will be in that council card area. Everything is $4.95 for everything this month, last month, the month before, and the global predictions.
And the global predictions.
Subscribe. Ava's awesome. She does the global predictions. She does everything. She does it all.
Okay.
And we also offer personal readings.
Hello.
So if you would like to know a little bit more about your situation, because these readings are obviously for everyone,
Yes.
every Capricorn,
A more specific reading for you. More personal. More
check
intimate.
below.
If there's any problem that you have, we keep all information private, believe me. And I will, and she will, try to help you as best we can to connect you with your guiding spirit and to help solve some of the problems you might be having.
So that said,
That's it
I guess we should get ourselves tucked in and ready for
for our celebration.
2015! Ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.